Hey guys, Marsengan here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be taking a look back here at the STR Carnival Goku, because he obviously released around this time of year in this LR time slot for JP, so he is now just over a year old. For Global, he's not quite a year old yet, but we're going to take a look at him and see how well he's faring in the meta nowadays. Jump into a couple of the Dismal Future Red Zone stages and see what sort of numbers we get. Now, he is a Battle of Wits 200% leader. Of course, all the Carnival LRs, full 200% leader skill. Battle of Wits is an okay leader skill. There are a lot of good units on there, like the Orange Piccolo and stuff like that. But obviously, being a Super Saiyan Goku, most of his best link partners are found on other teams. Now, when it comes to his supers, he does raise attack and defense on both supers, which is really good. The 12 key, of course, does colossal damage as well as greatly lowering defense. The 18 key does mega colossal and raises super class allies attack by 50% for 1 turn. So that is a very useful super attack effect if he's a unit that would be suited to being in slot 1. And when we look at his passive, he gets key and attack and defense at the start of the turn. He gives superclass allies 2 key and 50% defense, so very good. Reduces damage received by 30%, so he just has unrestricted damage reduction. It's only 30%, but that is still pretty good to have on top of everything else. He gets an additional attack and defense 15% with each attack received up to 75%. So he needs to be hit 5 times to get that extra 75%. Then he gets 2 key starting from the turn in which he receives the 5th attack in battle. And then he gets a Scouter once he receives the 10th attack. He also gets an additional 50% attack and launches an additional super when activating the active skill or when key is 24. And his active skill also requires him to be hit 10 turns and has to be from turn 5. So the problem with this guy straight off the bat, as you're probably aware if you've used him at all recently, is with the newer content being a lot more difficult and shorter, getting those hits in with him is very difficult. Like, even on release, to be honest, getting 10 hits in with him could be a little bit of an issue because he's a unit that builds up by being hit, and those units have not aged well thanks to the Dismal Future Red Zone because those bosses are hitting like a truck on turn 1. So you put this guy in turn 1, he's going to be taking big damage from those first normals. He builds up a little bit, he gets a little bit of extra defense on super, and then maybe then he'll be okay. But, you know, a lot of the times with these Dismal Future Red Zone bosses, they're, you know, normal attacking you maybe once or twice if you're lucky, and then super attacking you in slot 1. Potentially even it's the first attack of the turn. So if this guy, you put him in slot 1, you go up against like Fusion Zamasu, and he super attacks straight away, chances are this guy's just dead, right? Even with the 30% damage reduction. So we're going to jump in and take a look and see how he gets on. I haven't updated his hidden potential or anything since getting him, but I built him for mostly additional because we want to get that extra super to get the extra defense, and we don't want to give him too much dodge because he builds up by getting hit. You don't want to get into a situation where, you know, like Full Power Goku with his standby, Super Saiyan 4, where you could have actually gotten the 10 hits and gotten the Scouter and the active skill, but then he dodged a couple of them, right? So it's kind of a coin toss where the way you want to go with this guy, because if he's become too defensively outdated, then dodge is probably going to be the new best build for him, but then it just means he's going to end up being a floating support unit that never really gets to play to his strengths, because, you know, floating in slot 3 and having a lot of dodge, what are the chances he's going to get hit 10 times before the end of an event? Probably quite low. So we'll see how we get on. We're going to jump in and try him out in a couple of events. So yeah, just jump straight in. Okay, so we have him here on the second turn. Not the best rotation, but we're going to go ahead and see what will happen if we put him in slot 1 here. We have got, what, 237k defense start of turn. Now, obviously, he does have the little bit of damage reduction, so the worst case scenario is obviously just we eat a slot 1 super attack, but let's see what happens here. Okay, so we take a normal 200k, okay, and then we get the super 6.3, and then he's going to obviously raise defense from this. I think the biggest problem that this Goku is going to have with the content that releases, still 97, oof. The content that releases as it gets harder is he is a support unit that provides defense. So on the one hand, you kind of look at his kit and you think, like, you know, I can throw him on the team. We'll put him in slot 3. He can provide that defensive support. You know, he's going to get his super attack off before he gets attacked by the enemy, unless you're in an AoE event, of course. But the problem is, if you do that, then you get way less opportunities for him to actually attack, which is then obviously going to be kind of awkward. So I think what I wanted to be fair, I probably just want to get straight to the next turn as quickly as possible, because I was going to say with the smart way to play out the turn is probably feature Gohan slot 1, the Super Saiyans in slot 2, so they get to at least attack. But we don't really care so much about killing him straight away here as much as we do about getting the getting more turns in with STR Carnival Goku. So we'll just go ahead and do this here. By being below the HP threshold to have his revival available, obviously Tech Goku doesn't have guard, so he's just going to get instantly killed here. And then we can just revive and go on to the other rotation and have Carnival Goku back. But I think one of the big things about this Carnival Goku that does kind of serve as a detriment to him is, and until they start bringing out more of them and the return schedule gets a little bit better for these Carnival LRs, is the fact that we had to wait such a long time for him to return for the first time, right? Like JP, he returned for the first time on the Omega banner, and then for Global, he returned on the Worldwide Celebration banners, but it's kind of like around 6+ months since his original release. And then, of course, when he released on the Worldwide Celebration banners, at that point, that's when, you know, the Worldwide Celebration Red Zones were starting to come out. And this is the content that essentially seems to have, like, aged him fairly badly. Now, we didn't get a chance to see where he was going to super next turn. If he supers in slot 1, that would obviously be really, really bad. But, I mean, for the sake of seeing what happens, we do kind of want to just take hits, right, and see what kind of damage we're taking. Because, I mean, 30... can I get 6 orbs for Goku if I do this? 30% damage reduction is good, right? It's not a crazy high number. But start of turn, he's got 300k defense. And then, what is he getting again with each hit? It's, yeah, 15%. So if the first 3 hits are normals, then we get our super attack off. It'll be interesting to see if we are then tanking normal attacks for double-digit damage. Yeah, so it goes 178, yeah, to 143. Like, the difference is just not... The 15% doesn't make a crazy difference. But, I mean, 10 million attack is pretty nice, but that's him having taken a pretty significant amount of hits here. And then, oh, we dodged the super, let's go. And then the normal, see, post-super, the normal still does 93k. When he gets another, I guess it is only 30%, but he gets another 30% raise on super. So, yeah, definitely not the best when it comes to taking these hits anymore. We'll jump into a different event here as well. Okay, so this is a very, not an ideal first turn against Fusion Zamasu. All of the Super Saiyan Gokus on the same turn here. So we'll do this. We're going to get hit by the AoE, and then we're going to get to do our super attack. So we'll see how well this pans out here. So from the AoE, we take 183k, which is not great, of course, but we'll see how we get on here. I mean, with Goku, you obviously really want him to do an additional super attack because he is raising defense on both his supers, but you can't get the guaranteed additional unless you get enough ki, which, you know, his ki links aren't the best. He is providing support, but a team where, you know, you have a lot of other supports, or we're getting some orb changers or something like that, would obviously be very good. So you can see the difference there between, like, the Goku Black and then the Zamasu normals even, right? Because with no links active, the amount of damage that he took from the normals went down significantly in that exchange. How much is Goku taking from this with his defense buff? Ooh, 270. I mean, we took a lot of damage on that turn. We did live, though, which is good. But, yeah, that's going to be... Maybe we're not going to after this. I mean, I guess I could... we can go ahead and throw this up, right? So it's only for the one turn. We won't have it active for the next Goku turn. Because I want to try and see Goku's performance without items active as much as possible. Because obviously with a Yema on top of the damage reduction that they already have, that means that these guys have 80% damage reduction. So they're not going to be taking damage from normals. And then post super, they shouldn't take damage from his super attack, I think. But yeah, we should be okay. And Future Gohan obviously has his own damage reduction. So plus a Yema, he is actually invincible because he's over 100% damage reduction. And then these guys, what are they taking from this post super with 80%? Is it double digits? Yeah, it is. That's what I thought it would be. So just throw the Yema out there so we can survive the turn and then have another look at Carnival Goku. I think one of the big problems for Carnival Goku and why I wanted to jump into this stage, even though you could argue that it's harder than the Goku Black one, largely because of the AoEs, but at least in the second phase, Zamasu is physical, so this Goku does at least have type advantage. But none of the other major bosses really from this worldwide celebration are physical. So we know, of course, with a lot of the int phases running around, it's pretty tough for tech units out here at the moment. Physical units get a lot of advantage, but STR units, like there's only really that second phase of Fusion Zamasu. And then you have to kind of, you have to push through the first phase with the AoEs to get to that point. And then potentially after that, they're going to have, this extra value. So be interesting to see what Goku's actually able to do defensively speaking when we get to the physical Fusion Zamasu phase. But it is a shame because, like I said, this unit, the whole point of the video, right? This unit is now just over a year old on JP, came out on Global a little while afterwards. So for Global, he's not even a year old yet, and is essentially outdated at this point, right? Which is definitely unfortunate. So we can get the full 24 key here. Now, of course, the downside for this turn is going to be if he does actually go ahead and super attack straight away in slot 1, because we've now built up to, we've got 344k defense, we have the 30% damage reduction, so if he doesn't super in slot 1, then we should be all good, right? But of course, literally the first attack. Dodge, maybe? Of course not. So how much are we taking from that? I mean, we are dead, right? Yeah, 668k. Oof. I mean, even fully built up, I'm not sure if he's able to eat that, but, Dismal Future Red Zone and those slot 1 supers, what are you going to do? Okay, so I jumped back in and we got to Physical Fusion Zamasu. We did use the items. We've used the support memory to get us here just so we can see the rotation that we're going to get with this guy here. Now, I think he's fully built up. He took enough hits to at least get his passive fully built up. We obviously don't have the active skill or the scouter, which is of course another issue with this, how he's faring in the most difficult content, right? Like, he needs to get hit 10 times to get fully built up. And the possibility, even keeping him on rotation, especially with how powerful the rest of the team is. I mean, you can see we're here on the Physical Fusion Zamasu phase and he's already lost half of his health and we're on turn 4. Because Goku's first turn was turn 2. So I put him in slot 1, used the King Yema, and he took like 5 hits, including the AoE in slot 1. So it's not a situation that you're going to see like come up necessarily like that regularly, which is unfortunate, right? So we'll go ahead and see what we do here. So 400k defense with 30% damage reduction. I'm going to give you all of those orbs instead of the Super Saiyans, just because we obviously want to see how well he's going to do. That does mean we are unable to even get the 18 key super with the Super Saiyans, but like I say, we're not here for a showcase of them. We've done those already. So let's see how well we get on here. Hopefully we don't get immediately supered, but so yeah, 13k or 13 to 20. But then yes, he's doing a 13.5 million attack stat. It's one of those things where you want to say, like, that's really good for a support unit who a lot of the time nowadays you're just going to be using in slot 3. But the problem is that he's only getting that because his passive is fully built up and he's been hit 5 times. If you're using him as a slot 3 flowing unit, on his second appearance, it's very likely he won't have been hit like 5 times, right? So then we dodge the normal. So I mean, he tanked reasonably well, right? Between 13 and 20k without an item active pre-super. So post-super, it's a shame we did dodge that attack, because post-super, we should be taking double digits, basically. So, I mean, the problem with him is you can make him work in this content if you use items and kind of play carefully. which I know is not what a lot of people want to do or want to hear, right, when it comes to how to like rate these units and how well they're looking, you know, they're doing in the meta, how well they've potentially aged. So it's a bit of a shame that STR Carnival Goku, it kind of feels like he never really had that chance to shine, and it comes back to what I was saying with the problem with the Carnival LR releases is, you know, Carnival LRs, as much as a lot of people don't like the new format, we need to start seeing more solo Carnival LRs releasing, because otherwise, you know, we're not going to have the opportunities for these guys to return, and them coming back once every 6 months is not really good enough if they're then in that time period going to drop content that essentially ages them out. Because a bunch of people, depending how lucky your summons were when he first came out, you might have only got him to 55%, and then for global he came back, like I say, during the worldwide celebration, where that content is already essentially seeing him be outdated, right? So we'll go ahead and end it off here with the Future Gohan active skill, since we're obviously not going to get another turn. I do love this active skill. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of STR Carnival Goku down below in the comment section. I mean, I guess we could... No one really cares about Sin anymore, which is the issue, right? I was going to say, in Sin event, he can do pretty well, because you can get him to take those hits in the int phase. Then the AGL phase, as long as he doesn't take a super, he's going to be able to tank relatively well. And then when you get to the final phase, then obviously Sin is physical, and so he can look pretty good in that stage. You could potentially have got him hit enough times to get the scouter and everything, which would be really beneficial. But, you know, that content is... Again, that content itself is basically outdated now, so I'm not sure how well he would do in Omega Shenron. When that stage drops on Global, maybe he could be one of the units that we take into that stage to try him out. But yeah, there you go. That is the STR Carnival Goku revisit. What do you think about him? Do you like the unit? Did you like him when he first came out and you're kind of disappointed with where he's ended up now? Let me know all your thoughts on the STR Carnival Goku down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.